Greeting YouTubers, Eric Weil back again. Sorry about missing yesterday. I'm going to try to do back to back pretty much Monday through Friday just to get this channel kicked off. It's been a little sluggish, but I'm back. Let's see what we can do with it and go from there. So, another thing that gets brought up a lot, especially when I'm on the convention circuit or for people that, know me or have been around me, what is it like working for Sony? Well, everyone has their different opinions. Some people are nice enough to get the chance to work for Sony Pictures directly, SCEA, Studio 989, just to name a few. I worked for Variant, which before Variant was Red Eye and Studio 989, and then eventually became Sony Online Entertainment. Um, I have a lot of fond memories of the studio. I have some not so fond memories of the studio, but in all aspects, it was a great learning lesson. It's one of those things that unless you get the chance to work in the gaming industry, you're not really going to understand what it's like to be on the forefront of everything. For example, when I first had my interview with Sony, well, actually, it was Variant still at this point in time, but it goes back and forth, obviously, for many reasons. Um, it was kind of intimidating. I mean, I get in a room with six people, and they pretty much throw a lot of questions at me. They made me take if I remember, a 20 question test. This was just an entry level job when I first got there. It was for their tech support front lines, but it was really intimidating. And granted, the time it took to hear back from the job and to actually get the job was about a total of 8, 9 months. It seemed it was a long time, but when I actually first got there and first started with the job, it was a very unique situation because I've never worked for a studio prior to this. Just been an IT guy, which once again, that's just my background. It seems is just IT. Um, it was different. The fact that I'm supporting a game, and it was really complicated considering that most help desk stuff that you deal with on a day-to-day basis was not like a multi-tier thing. This was kind of that case, because let's say someone had a problem with a Voodoo card playing EverQuest. You would have to figure out why they were having the problem. Was it supported? Was it not? I mean, there's a lot of things you had to look into. You had to use the DX Diag, the MS Info tool. There's so much more to it than your just baseline troubleshooting that you do for any job. It was crazy. Talk about the perks of the company. Before Sony Online became Daybreak Studios, um, the one perk I always thought was kind of nice was the Sony discount. You can go to the Sony store, get a pretty nice discount on Bravo, discounts on Sony decks. I mean, anything you could possibly think of, even the Sony dog, you get to get a discount on. On top of that, you got discounts on movies. You got going to the movie theater course. You got awesome swag. I still have my Sony jackets. I got a seasonal jacket that would be best for winter. I've got a windbreaker. I don't think I have any of my hats anymore. I'm trying to think. I still have my beach chair, my lighter, a couple other things. But for the most part, I mean, it was, pretty good benefits. Downside, obviously the days he had to stay late for launch day, the long hours, the repetitiveness of certain things, because until I started getting into development, it was really kind of mundane work. I mean, typical tech support, even when I was a GM, it was kind of mundane. Even though you weren't taking calls and dealing with consumers directly, you were dealing with them indirectly, and that has its own challenges. But overall, I'd say that it was interesting. The way we had meetings was out in the parking lot. Schmed would call the whole company together, and we'd go out into the parking lot and have a meeting. That way, everyone was engaged. There was moments where my department was in Schmed's office for meetings, and it's just one of those things that I think that if you get the chance to work in the gaming industry, it kind of opens your eyes to other industries that you may or may not work in. I mean, I really can't compare it to aerospace. I can't compare it to telecommunications, government or military. It's its own animal. But honestly, it was fun. I mean, I got a lot of experience. Having that on my resume has made a difference in many cases. Just the aspect of what I've learned and what I use today, not as relevant anymore. I mean, a lot of the design stuff that I did back in the day is a lot different than the design stuff that they're using today. Similar, but different. So, all I can say is if you're looking to get a job in the game industry and you're really wanting to basically get your feet wet, the worst thing that you could do is apply. Get your resume out there, make sure you have a good cover letter. But, it's one of those things that if you want to get in, there's a lot of growth in the game industry. Keep in mind, you may not be the next Ed Boon, Brad McQuaid, American McGee. But here's the thing, you don't get in the game industry for the glory. You get in it for basically because you have a passion for gaming. If you have that mindset that you're going to be the next Cliffy, the chances are very slim. There's only that 1%, maybe a little bit higher, maybe 5% chance that you'll end up being one of the big dogs on the campus, but it's very slim to none. But anyways, back to what I was saying about working for Sony. It was great. I enjoyed it. I mean, as I said, there's some downsides. There's some good sides. NDA does not prevent me from speaking my mind anymore. But then again, there's just things that I won't talk about because that's just between me and the studio. But beyond that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.